So, to sidetrack a bit from visual effects production tips and best practices, let's dive into the deep relationship between the visual effects supervisor and visual effects producer. So, what exactly is the relationship between the two? Well, depending on how independent the film production is or the scale of the production budget, both might be the same person. In fact, the film producer may even be the visual effects producer too. But let's assume that for this particular project you are working on, you have a separate individual as a visual effects producer. How does that dynamic, that relationship between the visual effects soup and visual effects producer go? I'm gonna let our experts chime in on this just because I'm tired of talking and I'd rather let them do the talking for a change. Alright, here we go.
I would say very close because all our task is actually kind of like in a very short deadline, and every day there's like shots need to be done, and every week that have an episode need to be delivered, and they need to be update the progress and also update the obstacle like pretty much through a daily basis.
So a typical reaction or a typical exchange between myself and a visual effects producer is my visual effects producer basically saying, do this, and me saying, okay. No, but seriously, there's one of those relationships where it always trickles down from the top. The visual effects producer is going to be reached out primarily by the director, but the director, since he's more of a creative, wants to talk directly to me. And the producers of the film who are mostly worried about financials and money and stuff like that, are going to talk to the visual effects producer because they are in charge of the money for the visual effects department. My relationships with my producers, I've been fortunate to have very strong, honest relationships. And I think a lot of that is brought on by the way I communicate with them. I typically will be upfront. I will be honest. I will try to always do exactly what they ask, but at the end of the day, between the producer and the director, I am trying to please both of them. It's usually a tag team affair anyhow, so when I do go into battle, they're always going to be on my side, and we have to have each other's back so that we both walk away with the best product that we can and the best film possible.
When you first meet them, you sort of exchange war stories. You talk about what have you done, what have you worked on, where'd you come from, what company was that, and how did you get to do what you're doing now? This kind of thing. You sort of have this brief like who are you, and what, and with that you begin to understand like how they think and what their experience has been. And so then you can have conversations about the current project after you get that established. So on a day-to-day basis, though, it's all about, okay, this, sort of verifying that, okay, what we're doing is what we planned, right? And it's not going to cost more. Do you see anything coming up or that might get in the way of this? Have you heard anything from anyone? So you have discussions all the time about money, schedule, crew, what has to be done.
You need a good visual effects producer. I learned that the hard way when I thought I could do both. I've been lucky enough to have several very, very good producers that I could work with, and it's just like you are a two-person team. I would say never, ever, ever try to do something without a strong visual effects producer involved working with you as a co-equal. The producer would be spending as much time on the set as the effects supervisor would. Again, watching out, sometimes making very excellent suggestions, just making sure things were there, and then might go back to the office and take care of whatever logistic or financial things might be involved in it. Again, it's written up very well in the VES handbook. I won, kids.
Working with supervisors it's a close relationship. Usually on the pictures I work on, there's multiple supervisors. You've got someone on the production side, then you have supervisors at vendor levels. But the primary supervisor, we're basically partners in crime. I think my relationships are good with all of them, but they're all different too because everybody is unique. That's part of being a producer too. It's working with people and it's finding out how to work best with them. But I'd like to think that my relationships with supervisors have been good. With a supervisor, it's going through all of the tasks that need to be done, supporting the supervisor where they need support, and that's different for different people, and making sure everybody's on track, making sure the supervisor and all of the crew are focused on what they need to be focused on at that time. We talk all the time. When you're working closely with somebody, you talk all the time about everything. An interaction, say it's a production day and you're going to be shooting. Sit down and beginning of the day, you talk to the supervisor. What are we supposed to be accomplishing today? Where are we shooting? So we'll work through what needs to be done that day. Then we all go off and do it. End of the day, we'll probably talk about how it all went.
So, as you've heard it from the horse's mouths, it is all about maintaining that collaborative spirit and open lines of communication. It is important that both you and the visual effects producer are keeping tabs on the visual effects of the production and working in tandem with the director as a team. Not individuals, but a team. Just remember to respect each other's views and opinions, and you'll be fine.